Whoa. What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here for another preview stream. Southampton away in the Premier League. Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff. Not a happy hunting ground for us, St Mary's, usually. Only one win in our last 6 there, but it's a bit different this year. Southampton are rooted right to the bottom of the league. And what do you make out of Southampton? Obviously, it's like a very tight league, so maybe bottom of the league isn't what it usually is, bottom of the league. But what do you make out of them so far this season?
They've been pretty dreadful, to be honest. They've got a really young team, and they've had this policy for many years of they buy players very cheap, they build them up, and then they usually sell them on for quite hefty fees. And they've done this policy many times. They've had much success with it, but it was always going to catch up with them at some point. And I feel like at this point, they're now at the stage where they've sold all their established players, people like Højbjerg and people like that. And they're now,
apart from Ward-Prowse,
they're now in the cycle where they've got all these young players who are not experienced. They've only got Ward-Prowse and maybe you could argue Walker-Peters as kind of senior players, and they've got no established players to kind of keep up the levels. With young players, their form is going to be very up and down, and they do have some talented young players. Don't get me wrong, Lavia, brilliantly talented 18-year-old. Sulemana's got bags of ability. Obviously, we know Ward-Prowse he's one of their established players. I think Bella Kotchap, I think he's a really talented centre-back. But when you married that with people like Bednarek, Walcott, these aren't players who are going to elevate the younger players. So their senior players aren't good enough, and the younger players are too young to kind of make the impact. And it's left them in a situation where, despite a lot of talent, they can't really get consistent results and consistent performances. And they've let go of what manager who I think was doing an underrated job in Ralph Hasenhüttl. I thought he did really well to keep them up pretty much year on year. And although they weren't really improving and progressing into like a mid-table team, he was every year keeping them in the Premier League. I can't remember too many times where they were going into the last day and having to win to stay up. They were usually safe by a few games to go. So I thought he was doing quite a good job. I think it was underrated. They got rid of him. They brought in Nathan Jones. He was an absolute disaster. He was gone after like 10 games, if not shorter. He was gone very quickly. And now they're in a situation where they've gone for one of the coaches because they couldn't even find a manager to replace Nathan Jones. So I reckon they're massively regretting letting go of Hasenhüttl when they did. And now they're in a situation where they're going to have to somehow galvanise this young team to dig themselves out of a massive hole they're in. Otherwise, they're going down. To be fair to them, they're only 2 points clear of the 7 teams. So it's still very open. If they can somehow string a run of results together, they do have every chance. But I think with this crop of young players, despite the fact that I do believe in a lot of them, I think a lot of the young players are going to go on to have big futures and become good Premier League players. I just think right now it's come at the wrong time. And I think that they're kind of looking for these young players to overperform, whereas these young players need time. And unfortunately, they don't have time.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And it's kind of like, I feel like with Southampton, they took a step in the summer to really like refresh the squad with younger talent, like you're saying. And it might have come at the wrong time with such a tight battle for the drop down at the bottom. So we have to see how it plays out for them. But when you're looking at the form of the two teams, I mean, Southampton were usually quite a solid home outfit, but have lost 4 out of their last 5 games at home. One of those losses, well, just before the 5 losses, actually, 4 losses, was a loss to Nottingham Forest at home. And Nottingham Forest have been terrible away from home this season. So that result is quite telling. But they beat Man City at home, which was that in the cup. So yeah. I mean, they have had some results at home this season, but right now they are really on a hiding next to nothing. Just recently they lost to Grimsby at home in the cup as well, didn't they? But I think that when you're looking at Southampton, this is a game that we should be going to take 3 points, stamping our authority. But the way Southampton play, Do you reckon that's maybe going to play into our hands, or will it work against us? They like to try and dominate the possession in some way.
They're really struggling with an identity, I have to say, right now, Southampton. It's hard to put your finger on how they play, because one under Hassan Hutel was one way, under Nathan Jones it was another way, and now under this guy Sellers, he's also playing a different kind of way as well. They do usually Southampton like to, put a lot of energy into their performances, press really high. But recently, they've become more of a counter-attacking team. I saw them when they beat Leicester. They beat Leicester at home not so long ago, and I was watching that game, and they were very much sitting deep, kind of countering on Leicester, exploiting the space Leicester left behind them. So I'm thinking that I think if they're going to stay in this league, that's probably the best way. Their best avenue to try and get results. Because I think if they dominate, they're not good enough to dominate games and then also not be exposed at the back right now. They're just not good enough. So they're going to have to be compact, make it difficult for the opposition, and then exploit them on the counter. That's what they tried to do against Man United. And I know Man United went down to 10 men, but before that, they had a few moments on the counter, even with 10 men. Obviously, Southampton had more of the ball, but they were still trying to, a lot of the time, play on the counter-attack. I saw against Chelsea, I was watching a game against Chelsea when they beat them at Stamford Bridge very recently. And that was very much, again, they were counter-attacking Chelsea. Chelsea had a lot of possession, and Southampton would spring on them with their young, bright attackers and midfield players and try and exploit the space. And to be fair, in that first half, Southampton had a lot of control of that game, and they were 1-0 up, Ward-Prowse with a free kick, and Chelsea dominated the second half but couldn't overcome it. So I do feel like with Southampton obviously fighting tooth and nail right now, Spurs' mentality has been in question. These are the kind of games we could easily slip up with the energy they have, and that fight which we have to match. If we don't match that fight that they're going to bring, then they could easily get a result. That's the big question mark for me. Is with the season now all relies on this top four. We have to put everything into it if we're going to get results in games like on the weekend, because these teams are fighting tooth and nail for every single point they can get in this relegation battle, and Spurs have to be up for the fight. And that's one of the question marks I have about the Spurs team, where they are up for the fight.
Yeah, it's a big question mark. But, you say, against Leicester, they had a good counter-attacking display, won the game 1-0. Fast forward to the midweek game against Brentford. I mean, they really looked to dominate the possession there. They had, I think, over 65% possession in that game, just couldn't find a way through. And I think that if Ward-Prowse isn't scoring a free kick or isn't delivering from a set piece from them, I mean, they don't really have that many avenues to attack, do they? Yeah,
because Shea Adams is not a clinical finisher. He's a very good link-up striker, but he's not the most clinical finishers. You got Sulemana on the one side, who's again a really good dribbler, but very frustrating in the final third. Theo Walcott, who's just his levels are completely dropped. I think he's been terrible for many years. Although on his day he used to be a very good finisher, but those days are long gone. So you're very much relying on Ward-Prowse from set pieces or shots in and around the penalty area to find those moments of magic. That's usually when that's usually how they found their joy. Although they do have a player called Alcaraz, who I've been a bit impressed with. I do like the look of him. He's a new player they brought in January, another young player. But again, he's not a clinical finisher. He's more of a creative player, I feel, and. He's one who looks bright, but again, he's not one who you can rely on. They've got other young strikers like Mara. He's one who's struggled to adapt to the Premier League, and he hasn't quite found his shooting boots. So it's one of the reasons why, despite Southampton against the likes of Brentford, they had a lot of possession, but they weren't able to find those moments of quality because their strike force, their front four players are just full of players who are not consistent finishers or too young or past their best. So that's a big reason why they haven't been able to find goals easy to come by this season. Yeah, they signed a player. I'm not sure if it was in January or the summer. I think it was January. It was Paul Onuachu from Genk in Belgium, and he scored crazy amounts of goals in Belgium. I'm looking at it now. He scored 16 in 19 first half of the season, 21 in 35 last season, 33 and 38 the season before. And I was really intrigued to see how he would match up in the Premier League, but he hasn't seemed to be getting too much of a look in. But they signed someone, Orsic, as well in January. He's played 6 minutes. Yeah. since coming in. He's one who's a clinical finisher, but
it baffles me that these two aren't getting enough minutes,
especially when
they're struggling in front of goal.
Yeah, that's what you'd think. I think Orsic is definitely a player who's got good quality, and he's got a really good finish. If he's one in front of goal, you can rely on him to pull off that finish. But maybe it's just physically he's struggling to deal with the demands of the Premier League. I mean, you don't have as little as 6 minutes as a new signing for no reason. There's got to be something seriously wrong there.
He's looked good every time I've seen him play for Zagreb or Croatia.
Yeah, well, Croatia in the World Cup, he looked when he got minutes, he looked good. For Zagreb, whenever he comes up against an English team, he seems to score. He scored against a hat-trick against Spurs. He scored against Chelsea in the Champions League, and he scored against West Ham in the Europa League as well. So he has history against English teams, so he shows he can play against them. But for one reason or another, Southampton, they just haven't fancied him at all. 6 minutes since January, since signing. That's like really alarm bells.
Yeah, absolutely. If you bring up the head-to-head between the two clubs, I mean, we have a fairly good record against Southampton at home specifically. When you're looking at the away form, 1 win in our last 6 visits to St Mary's. I mean, why has it been such a unhappy hunting ground for us? I mean, that 1 win was that 5-2 when Heung-min Son scored 4 goals. Him and Kane, I think, provided, what was it, four assists and a goal that day, was it, for Harry Kane? And I thought that was an unbelievable performance. But apart from that, last year we didn't we lose 3-2 last year there?
No, at home we lost 3-2.
At home we drew 1-1 last year, 1-1 the year, 5-2 the year before, 1-1 the year before, 1-0 loss, 2-1 loss, 1-1, and then 2016 we won 4-1. I mean, what is it about St Mary's and Spurs?
I don't know. I don't think there's a specific reason. I just think sometimes you come into these games expecting a win, and I think we come into this game underestimating Southampton more often than not. And they're usually at home with the crowd behind them, and quite a tough nut to crack if you're not on it, if you're not up for the fight. Again, this is something that this Spurs team have been guilty of too many times, just underestimating the opposition. I think a lot of the time that's what happens when we go to Southampton. We think it's going to be an easier game than it is, and we turn up and it's a lot harder to get the result. Last season specifically, we were 1-0. We came into the game in quite decent form. We were 1-0 down within 20 minutes. And then Salisu gets sent off just before half time. We get a penalty, and we equalise just before half time, and we had the whole of the second half to grab a goal, and we couldn't do it. Yeah. Against 10 men.
I remember that was tragic.
That was a really frustrating game, one of the most frustrating games of last season. 10 men for 45 minutes, we couldn't get a goal. That was really disappointing. So we've got to have that in mind going into this game. But look, they're a different team, even from last season, a lot younger. Different kind of threat, different experience. But you've got to be wary of these teams because they're in bad form and because they're in a relegation battle and they have a new manager. You've got to be wary that every game he's going to be trying something new until he finds something that clicks. And you just never know. It could easily be this game where he finally finds that formula for that starts to click, because they're obviously he's going to keep chopping and changing until he finds that right formula for his team, because he's still working it out, and then that until he finds something that can find him a bit of consistency in this relegation battle. And you never know, in this kind of game it could easily we can easily start in this game, he can pull off a tactical surprise and he can find that something that could work for him. So you've always got to be really wary in these kind of games, that sometimes you don't know what to expect. You just got to concentrate on your game and make sure that you're on point and you're up for the fight and you're ready for the battle, because we have better players, we have the better team, but it's just whether we're ready for a battle, and that's what we need to be ready for. Because they're going to scrape and scratch for everything. Yeah,
absolutely. Right, rooted to the bottom of the league, like I said. But in terms of the two players that we've looked at for ones to watch, I mean, we already mentioned Ward-Prowse. He always seems to get a goal against us, doesn't he? And definitely from set pieces, you definitely have to be wary about. With Romero about, I'm sure they're going to get quite a few set pieces tomorrow.
Although Forster will know about his set pieces, won't he?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Forster coming up against his old club. And actually, when I'm looking at their keeper, Bazunu, is he someone that we should be looking at?
To replace Lloris? No, I mean, not yet. I like him, but I like him for his age. I think right now he's a bottom half Premier League goalkeeper.
You reckon? Yeah.
Yeah, right now. I'm not saying in the future he won't grow into being a top half or even a top 6 goalkeeper. But right now he's definitely a bottom half goalkeeper.
I hope
He's not.
David Harris ain't watching you.
I don't think he's good enough right now to be our number 1. I just don't. I don't. I'm not saying he's got a terrible future. He's very young. He's like 22 or something. He's really young.
Yeah,
so,
he is young.
So like, it's no slight on him to be that level. I think you're expected to be that level at his age. He's easy. That's even impressive to be a bottom half keeper at his age, to be fair. But I don't think unless we're signing him to be our number 2, I wouldn't sign Bazunu to be our number 1 right now, in my opinion.
And Che Adams, I mean, very hot and cold player, isn't he? But a very streaky player. I mean, it seems like when he scores one, he can score like a few in a row. But when he's cold, he's really cold, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those where he can, on his day, he can, like, against really big teams, he can actually look like really on it and give them a lot of trouble. I think actually he plays a lot better when he has a strike partner next to him. I don't like him leading the line by himself. I don't think he's that good at it because I don't think he's particularly fast. He's got good strength and he's got good link-up play, but who's he linking up with? He needs a striker next to him who can run onto his passes and be a clinical finisher. I think he's got good shooting technique, but I don't think he's a very clinical finisher in front of goal. But I do think he gets good power on his shots and he gets good gets fairly good accuracy. But he's not he's not very good at bending his finishes and the finesse part of the game. So I like Che Adams and I do think he's quite a decent link-up striker. But him up front in his own, I think he's much better when he's got a partner with him, close to him.
Bring up the predicted lineup for Southampton. This is the same lineup that they played in the last game, but obviously Kyle Walker-Peters went off injured that game, so we've replaced him with Bree. So it's Bella Kutchup, Bednarek, Perraud and Bree as a back four. I mean, a very young back four, that is, apart from Bednarek. Diallo,
back five, very young.
Diallo, Ward-Prowse at the back, Alcaraz, Suleimana and Elianusi supporting Che Adams. He's actually preferred Walcott recently, to be fair. Walcott started the last few games, but he's been terrible. I don't think he started the last game, did he, against Brentford? I think they dropped him for that game.
Did he?
Because he had a poor game in the previous game. But
I only watched the second half and he was on, so he must have come off the bench or something.
Right. But look, I think that this is a team that we should be taking 3 points in. And when you're looking at how Spurs set up in this game, are you looking at an unchanged lineup again from last week?
Last week was against... who did we play last week? Forest.
Yeah.
Forest at home. Was Davis left with... Yeah, I would go unchanged. I don't think there's any reason to change it. I think we were dominant for that first half. And although the second half Forest game was a bit more trouble, I think the game was pretty much done by then anyway. I think Porro deserves us to keep his place. I wouldn't see any reason to change him. I think Richarlison, same token. I thought he had a really good performance. I think it sends out the wrong message if he comes out the team. Son and Kane, are clinical. I think Davis should be keeping his place at left wing back right now because he just gives us a bit of solidity there ahead of Perisic. I think I would. I don't see a reason to change it. I really don't. I think I would keep it unchanged. I think that team has pretty good balance, and I think with Skip and Højbjerg in the middle as well, there's good. I think there's players you can trust to be up there, up for the fight against Southampton centre midfield and dominate in that area and make sure that Ward-Prowse isn't dictating things as well and making sure that they're kind of all over him. So I agree. I think I would go unchanged. I don't see a reason to change it.
Is this the problem kind of Emerson has? Because obviously he's in really good form at the moment, Emerson. But Porro's come in and he's just shown another dimension to his game that just Emerson just doesn't have. So, I mean, what are you feeling about Emerson and his future at the club now in terms of when now Porro's in here and he's kind of settling in?
I don't see big questions about his future. I just think we need competition for places. Porro came in and Emerson was in great form, so we kept playing Emerson. That's fair enough. Emerson got injured, Porro's come in, and now Porro is the one in great form, so why take him out? And I think what was actually quite telling for me was how quickly Conte decided to move to Porro in that AC Milan game. Like within 5 minutes of the second half, he was like, okay, I'm getting Porro on. That kind of told me that despite how well Emerson is playing, I think he sees Porro as the guy who can really do what he wants on that right wing back as ahead of someone like Emerson. Because the fact that Emerson, when we play him, he has to play that role where he's cutting in inside and not getting out wide and not being in those positions he naturally wants his fullback to be. And the fact that when Porro came on, he put Porro straight away out wide, and he tucked Kulusevski in straight away. That tells me that's what Conte really wants. That's what Conte really wants to do. So,
and it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. So if Porro's going to be the one doing it, then he's going to have the shirt right now. And obviously, if Porro has bad performances, Emerson can get his way back in the team. But as long as Porro's doing what Conte needs from his wing back, then I don't see any reason why Porro shouldn't be the number one choice right now.
I just asked one thing of Harry Kane this weekend, man. Just let Porro take the free kicks. Please. Just let Porro take the free kicks. I mean, it pissed me off so much at Wolves when Porro hit that bar from that free kick and then Harry Kane didn't let him take that next one. It pissed me off so much. But look, it's going to be an interesting game. Me and Sim will be down at St Mary's tomorrow. What's your score prediction going into it?
I'm going to back us to win. I am a bit worried, actually, in this game, because I feel like we're going to go into this game thinking that's how it's Southampton, they're bottom of the league, we're going for top four.
Keep doing this.
But I'm worried about it because we're going to really see the mentality of this team right now in terms of how we're going to approach this top four battle. Because it's going to be a battle. We're going to have to fight for every point right now. It's not going to be easy. We can't look at last season and think, because we won 10 of the last 14 games last season, it's going to be as simple to do it this season. Because last season, we really stepped up to the plate and we really stepped up to the challenge, and we were really up for the battle, and we were fully behind Conte and the project. This season, it just seems to be a bit different. That's what I'm worried about. So if we're not as up for it as we were last season, we're going to be dropping silly points, and I'm worried that we'll go into this game and we have the ability to drop silly points if we're not completely up for it. But I'm going to go for Spurs to win. I'm going to hope that Conte still has the players 100% on side, and they're going to be 100% up for the battle, and if the mentality is there, we'll win the game. But I'm just worried that it won't be. But I'm going to go for 2-1 Spurs.
2-1. I think it will be fairly tight, to be honest. I think Southampton are going to try and play some football on the day, but I think we're going to be a bit too strong for them. Hopefully we'll have that defensive solidity.
We got to remember, we're off the back of 4 losses away from home in a row.
I know. That's the problem. But I'm hoping that quality can shine through in the game this weekend, and I'm going to go for 1-0 to Spurs. I think it will be tight. But that is our match preview. That's our score predictions. It's time for you guys to have your say. And next up is 2 guys who I haven't seen in a while.
Haven't you?
They go by the name of Brian and Ryan.
But Ryan.
Brian with a Y.
Ryan.
How you doing, guys?
Oh, can't hear him. Can you hear them?
On mute?
They're on mute and they're singing.
You're on mute and you're singing.
I did my
on
eyes
mute
have
and you're
seen
singing.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hear you now.
Okay,
I'm
not going to sing this. I'm not going to try and sing the song for the 3rd time. It's done.
What song was it?
Oh God! My eyes have seen the glory of the Football Appreciation Awards. My eyes have seen the glory of the Football Appreciation Awards.
Do you not appreciate Sonny? Do you not appreciate Sonny, Brian?
I appreciate Sonny.
So he deserves an award for that appreciation.
I do, mate, and I've seen the glory, mate. So I'm factually right for once.
Who says Spurs don't get trophies?
Who knows? Who knows? But how are you, boys?
All good,
doing
my
all right.
friend. How are you guys?
All good. All good.
What are we feeling about tomorrow, guys? Both of you are going to be down there at St Mary's tomorrow. How are you feeling coming into it?
I am quietly confident. I'm going to go over Spurs to win 2-1. I think Harry Kane will get us over the line like he's done all season.
Getting your prediction in there early, Ryan. Love to see it.
Got to 2-1 Spurs, Harry Kane at the double, and getting 2 goals nearer to overtaking Shearer.
Brian, what is it about this stadium? 1 win in our last 6 visits to St Mary's. Why can't we ever get a win there?
Mate, do you know what? You have these grounds, don't you, where it's just really, really hard to get a result. I don't know why St Mary's particularly is. I mean, whenever I think of St Mary's, I think of that great season where Delhi scored 2 when he went on that run. I think it's the season we finished second, when he scored 2 against Watford. Yeah, when he scored 2 against Watford, then 2 against Southampton, then 2 against Chelsea. He was on a roll. That's the first. That's whenever I think of this fixture, it's the first game I remember. But yeah, it's proved to be a bit of a problem recently, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, they're like obviously rooted to the bottom of the table, but you can't really take that for granted that just because they're bottom of the league that we're going to turn up there and just easily win the game, because they've got a new manager, so that brings a air of unpredictability about it as well, even though he's been in charge for a few games, and they're going to be fighting tooth and nail to get every single point. So when you look at Southampton, they just drew away at Man United. So is there something to be worried about, or do you look at them thinking they're rubbish, we should easily beat them?
Yeah, well, you know what? Thinking of it, I was saying to Ben last night that against who is it they played last? Who did they lose to 1-0? Fulham. Was it Fulham or was it Brentford?
Brentford, yeah.
2-0, yeah.
Brentford, yeah. They actually played really well in the second half, Southampton. They just couldn't finish. That's the problem. I mean, the only chance that they really take is if James Ward-Prowse has a free kick. Then it's like, oh, here we go. So they've been playing football. They just haven't been able to put the ball in the net, and let's just hope that continues tomorrow. Let's just hope and pray.
Let's talk about James Ward-Prowse, obviously the big danger man for Southampton. Start with you, Ryan. Is he someone that we should be looking at in the summer, James Ward-Prowse?
We should, but I'd be going after the other James at Leicester City. That's my take on it. Ward-Prowse is a very good player. But I don't think he's exactly what we need. I think we've got that area sort of covered with Bentancur, who's added goals to his games. Højbjerg has added goals to his game. What we need is that out-and-out number 10 creative midfielder who can actually take control of the game and just create chances here, there and everywhere. I think Ward-Prowse mainly, yes, he delivers from set pieces and he's got a brilliant cross on him, but can he find that pass, splitting pass through the lines? That I'm yet to see. I don't think he's got that in his game.
Well, you jinxed it now, haven't you?
Yeah, so watch him slide one in, Walcott's put 1-0 up, and then Kane to score 2. But then, yeah, I'd be going after James Maddison. That's the one I've always wanted. I've been crying out for a couple of years. We need James Maddison in this team.
I'm Ben, as you'll know, and Simeon. I'm a huge fan of James Ward-Prowse. I think if you get him in the right team with the right players around him, you just got to look at what he did to us last season in the 3-2 defeat. Those 2 crosses, the same headers. Just if you give him time and space on the ball, when he gets the cross in, and if please God Harry Kane is there next season and James Ward-Prowse is there, I think first of all the assists will be through the roof, and then at least someone can say it will be him and Porro that can tag team and say get the hell away from free kicks. I think he's I agree. James Maddison's a better player all round, but I think James Ward-Prowse would do wonders at Tottenham.
How important is it for Spurs to get the 3 points this weekend? If we don't, where does that leave our top 4 battle?
Not important at all. It's not important at all. Generally, it's not important at all. There's all this thing. Look, I'm sure Brian's the same. I don't care where we finish. We could finish 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th. It doesn't bother me at all. That you're going to go down there, have some fun, watch some football, and enjoy the game, regardless of the result. I hope we win, obviously, but if we lose, it's another one of them games.
Another one bites the dust, eh?
Well, put it this way: I've got more on this because me and him have got a bet on. He thinks we're going to win 8 out of our last 11, and we've got a Chinese meal on it. So I hope we get the win. I think we will get the win. But if we don't, it's just another weekend where we've had an opportunity, we haven't taken it, and then, of course, people like myself will be leaving out like we always are. But then the media is going to have another field day. Do you know what? I'm getting sick and tired of every single day either seeing the media with is Kane staying, is Kane going, is Conte staying, is Conte going, 15 different managers lined up to take over. And then, obviously, these bloody awards that we win off the... It just needs to stop. And the only way we can stop that is by winning football matches. Otherwise, it's just going to be another week of absolute battering on the media on all levels from us. So, or at us, shall I say. So, this game's huge. And if we lose, I think there'll be big ramifications.
It won't.
Brian, what tattoo are you getting if you lose the bet? Is it a picture of
What?
Ryan's face on your
No.
forehead?
I've learned
Chinese.
Chinese.
A picture of a Chinese.
Fried rice on my arm or chicken
Ryan's
chow
name
mein.
in Chinese on your forehead.
Yeah, I know. I'm not on my forehead, mate. No. I think I think I'll get divorced by my parents and my wife if anything is ever tattooed on my forehead.
Honestly,
Ryan's. Go on.
these are the games though. Southampton away, all them the sides that are battling right at the bottom, crying out for any point they can get. These are the games that are really, really challenging. If offer me a chance to play Aston Villa away right now, I'd bite your hand off. I know we've got them later on in the season, but those are the games. They're on the beach, they're relaxing. Those are the games you think 3 points are certainty. These are the games that, if anyone thinks we're going to be putting 3 and 4 past Southampton, like on the opening day of the season, you're in for a rude awakening because it won't.
Yeah, Ryan, you said you reckon Spurs are going to win 8 of their last 11, and last season it took like a big effort for Spurs to do that. Like there was so much extra motivation to beat Arsenal to the last place and stuff. Do you reckon that motivation is going to be here this season then?
Yes, I do, because at the end of the day, if we don't get top 4, Mr. Daniel Levy won't be too happy. So then he will look to hopefully replace 1 or 2 players. So there's the motivation to stay at Spurs and earn a lovely wage. So, and as we all know, that's all the players care about really at this point. They've shown it that they don't really care about the fans. I mean, at Sheffield United, 1 or 2 players came over to applaud 5,500 of us that travelled all that way. If they cared, they would be putting in performances and working their hearts out to get to perform for us, which they don't. So it shows a lot. I think the motivation will be there as a professional. 8 out of 11 is a bit optimistic, but if you look at our running, I think we'll beat Southampton, we'll beat Everton. I think we'll go to St James's and win. The only games that see us losing is Man United at home. I can see us getting a point at Anfield like last year. I can see us going on a run again. I can see it. I can also see us losing 9 out of 11. That's the way Spurs are going at the moment. But I'm sticking my neck on the line, sticking my Chinese where my mouth is. And we're going to win 8 out of the last 11. You've got to have confidence.
We got the score prediction from you, Ryan, 2-1 to Spurs. Brian, what are you saying?
I'm going for a reverse of that 3-2 defeat that we got at the White Hart Lane last year. I'm going Spurs 3, Tottenham 2.
Spurs 3, Tottenham 2.
Yeah, that's the best one, mate. We can't lose.
3,
we can't lose. Spurs 3, Southampton 2. Thank you for that, mate. Thank you. Spurs 3, Southampton 2.
Big up, guys. Thanks for coming on, and we'll see you very soon.
We certainly will. And as always, Levy out.
Support the team, not the regime.
Mate, you're getting copyrighted.
See you later, guys.
Yeah.
All right, who is next? It's me, it's AVB.
Oh, piss off. It's KPV, Ben.
I thought you wanted AVB as our next manager.
No, I didn't. Get over it. I never said that. I said I don't want him back. Get over it, man.
Fair enough.
You
How you
just taking a mick.
How you doing, KPV? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. And I've got another person called Ben with me as well. Another Ben.
Great stuff.
He's a
How
Man United.
are you feeling about the game this weekend? You think we're going to do the business?
Well, yeah, because like Southampton away, as you said, our record isn't that bad, but hopefully
1 win
we'll
in
get
our
the
last
win.
6 there, KPV.
Yeah, that was when we had Mourinho, and
Correct.
we won 5-2, and Son got 4, and Kane got 1, but Kane assisted 4 and scored. But as people probably didn't know, I didn't watch the game because I didn't have BT on my TV then, so I had to watch it on the BT Sport app on my phone. I didn't watch it because I was asleep 2 seasons ago. I didn't watch, but I watched the highlights, but yeah, like Son just loves scoring against them, and Kane does. But I've got a question for you lot in the chat as well, people. Was Kane on loan at Southampton? Because when we were challenging for the league against Leicester, the commentator said that Kane was actually on loan at Southampton when he was a kid. Like, Does anyone believe that? Was he? Can someone check?
I don't think he was.
I don't think he was, so it must have been a mistake. Must have been a
When-
mistake, Kyle.
Yeah, when we beat them at theirs, and they beat us at the old White Hart Lane, when we were challenging for the league. Unfortunately, we lost 2-1. 2 goals from Stephen Davis. We lost, but not great under Poch. But Ericsson always scored against Southampton. And but I've got a question for you all. Can you name a few players who played for Spurs Southampton? I know a few. It's Gazaniga, Gareth Bale, and who else is there? Anyone in the chat?
Jamie Redknapp.
Redknapp. Who else is there?
There's probably loads of players.
Yeah, like Gaz and Forster. That's the one. Forster. Happy birthday, Fraser Forster.
Yeah,
And
it's his birthday.
Did you say Carl Walker-Peters? You said Carl Walker-Peters.
yeah, Carl Walker-Peters. I think he's been their best player.
Toby Alderweireld.
Yeah, Højbjerg and yeah, that. But I want to wish a happy birthday to the Beast. Sandro, you had him on the channel for the preview for the United game last year. I forgot to wish. I was busy on Wednesday. Happy birthday to the Beast. To celebrate his birthday, I watched that game goal against United at White Hart Lane, the stunner. Blood clot, Ross Bumper clot, jeez, fam.
What's your score prediction for the game tomorrow?
Oh God, I expect to win, so I'll say 5-2 again. And Kulu made his debut against Southampton at home last season. Came off the bench, and Bentancur was actually on the match day program at home. So who's on the match day program this time, boys? Anyone? Who's on the match day program?
I don't know, Carl. I'm not sure.
What do you mean, the
Could be
watch-along
Kulu.
or the Sky Sports?
I'm on about the match day program. You know where you can get a program?
The program.
Oh, who's been printed in the program, you're asking?
You're on the cover. On the cover.
Come on, Ben. Who's on the who's on the cover? Come on.
Who is printed on the program? I'll let you know, KBV, tomorrow when we go to the game.
And Ben, you better get to work because there's a footballer's Kulusevski card. 90 pace, 91 dribbling, and 89 physical.
I'm not really playing anymore, Carl. I'm not really playing anymore.
Come on, man. We are all tired of watching Spurs lose, mate. Bring back some FIFA content, or else justice will be served. Bring it.
Well, we'll see you later,
Bring
Carl.
it.
Thanks for coming on.
Ladies, man. And as always, Levy, start.
All right.
And that was the
Carl.
great KPV. Coming up next is another We Are Tottenham great, and that is Ashmatic.
Yo,
Yes,
can you hear me?
Ash. Yes,
Ash.
You didn't come
What's
up.
going on,
I
man?
actually prefer it when you come back on mute, man.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on.
There we go. You're on mute, Ashmatic.
Oh, snap. Sorry, guys. Yo, so
How you doing? You good?
Yeah, no, good. I'm good. How are you guys?
Yeah, all good, man. How are you feeling? A week free of Spurs. Arsenal went out the Europa League last night on penalties, and we got a big game against Southampton this weekend to stamp some more authority in that top 4 race. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, it's positive times, positive results. A little bit less unrest at the club at the moment.
Just a little bit.
Sonny, just a little bit. Sonny got an award. So I'm hoping that kind of perks him up. I know Kyle Walker-Peters down that right-hand side is going to be very
Might be
busy.
injured coming into this one.
He's apparently he's fit.
Oh, he's fit, is he?
Well, I just always know when their fullbacks push quite high up, there's always space in behind. And I know how Davies likes to play a little bit further back behind Sonny. I think we might have a bit more space on that left-hand side to enjoy an attack. So I'm just hoping that, you know, after that good news for Sonny with his awards, that he might just be on it. And he scored obviously against Forest. I'm hoping that it's going to turn his run of form and he's going to be able to impact the game somehow. Because yeah, by the looks of it, I don't know how their new manager plays, but I just know that their fullbacks will be pushing high up, so the space is going to be there to attack. in my opinion. So if we can exploit that, then we might be able to get something. But Southampton's a tricky one. We've seen that they beat Chelsea. They drew with Arsenal. They drew obviously with Man United.
Mm-hmm.
So against the top teams, they beat Man City as well, didn't they? So
In
their
the cup,
home
yeah.
form, in the cup, their home form seems to be pretty decent against the top teams. So hopefully, if we do get a result, it's a massive result, is what I'm saying.
So what are you saying, Ash? They're doing well against the top team, so we should be all right tomorrow.
Basically.
Are you thinking unchanged, Ashmatic?
Yeah, I'm thinking unchanged. It doesn't make any sense. Well, to be fair, you never know. Conte could just throw us a curveball and put Perisic in left wing back, just to rotate a little bit, because some fans complain that we don't rotate. Some fans complain that we need to keep our best starting 11. Because obviously against West Ham and Chelsea we were fine. It's only when we rotated it in the cups that's when our form went a bit downhill. So let's hope he just keeps the same team, same rhythm. And as you said before, it's all about balance. So I think with those guys on the pitch, the team seems a little bit more stable, a bit more balanced between defense and attack. And I think Porro is slightly more attacking, slightly more front-footed. And he linked up very well with Richarlison, I thought, against Forest. And even when Kulusevski came on as well, I thought they were doing nice little interchanges into inside and outside, coming from inside out and outside in. I thought they were quite effective together. So I think Kulu even got a chance off the back of it, like by Porro just doing a simple pass into him, and almost scored. So we could see a bit more of that. And, I think even when Richarlison set up Son, I think Porro was involved in that. So it's all coming down from that right-hand side. So I think the more attacking we are and the more link-ups we can do in that right-hand side, even if Skip kind of comes across that right-hand side a bit more, we can overload them in that final third and cause them problems. Because when teams sit back, we do find it hard to break them down. But I feel like when Spurs are kind of close together and we do the short passes, we're quite effective. We play quite attacking football. We do short passes and we're quite, together on one side, especially that right-hand side, we link up quite well. So I'm hoping for more of the same again. Last time, though, Ward-Prowse was the thorn in the side. I remember when Ward-Prowse, not in our home game, the previous home game, I remember Ward-Prowse got those 2 quick assists and they just basically rattled us.
Identical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, identical. And I just like, what the hell just happened? And Che Adams just popped up. I was like, what the hell just happened there? Oh my days. Like, I thought we had the game. I thought we had control of it. And then, that's football for you. So hopefully
that's what a man with a quality right foot like that can do. You know what I mean? Like any set piece in and around the box, any corner, even like if he's in that spaces like he was in that game, just on the right hand side of the area, he can ping him in from anywhere, can't he?
He's just quality. He's just got that quality about him, where he could just get that ball. And he's got quite a few goals this season as well, not just from set pieces, but from open play. So he is their main man. They do look to him. He is their captain. He's their talisman. So he's going to be the one supplying. But like you said before, Che Adams and was it Alcaraz? Oh, not Alcaraz. I can't remember the other player. Plays behind Che Adams.
Yeah, it's Alcaraz. Yeah,
Alcaraz. They're not really too much. They're not too much of a threat at the moment. They're not really causing too much problems. So I'm hoping for more of the same again. I don't know if we will go front. I hope we go front-footed. I hope we get a bit more front-footed at Southampton. So it looks like we're having a go. They're not too aggressive when it comes to counter-attacking. So I think we should just go for it, man. I think that's my opinion.
Score prediction?
Score prediction. Can we keep a clean sheet? Well, Nottingham Forest said no, so I'd say a cheeky 2-1. I'll go 2-1, safe 2-1 again.
2-1
To
Spurs.
Spurs.
Sonny back on the
Spurs.
score sheet. Maybe
I mean,
Richarlison. Richarlison finally going to get a goal this weekend?
Oh, I hope so, man. I hope so. Sonny and Richie, if they can both score, that'd be great news. And Kane with the assists.
Absolutely.
Or even someone else. Even with Skip. Hopefully,
Give
Skip
Porro
gets
some
it.
assists. He needs to get his
Porro,
stats up. Yeah.
Porro. You know what? That's a good shout. I think Porro will get an assist tomorrow. I think he will, because he's been knocking on the door, and I think he's been
got
involved.
one, didn't he? He got one last week.
Yeah, sorry, he did. Yeah, you're right. So I think another assist is due for Porro. So
maybe even a goal for Porro. Did you see those goals he was scoring in that training routine that they were doing?
He looks fire.
Was it left foot and right foot?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, yeah, he's a problem. We need to have him scoring or assisting tomorrow, man. Definitely, he's going to be our danger man. The one to watch, I reckon. Yeah, man.
Big up, Ash. Always good to chat to you,
nice
man.
one, Ash.
And we'll speak to you next time. Up the Spurs, come on. All right, let's keep it going. Oh no!
There's someone. Oh, one sec.
Someone has just joined, so we will be going to a guest in a moment's time. Who is it? If Richie can turn his camera on, then we can get him on in the next few seconds. But at the moment, his camera is off.
No, there's a few people. Si said he's trying to join in. It won't let him join. One sec.
Is there a problem in the back end? Here we go. I can see him now. Driving in his car. Let's bring him on. How's it going, Richie? He's on mute. You're on mute, Richie.
Oh, and he's cut out.
And you've also cut out.
Yeah. A few people, I think. I know Perchy, I think, is trying to come on.
So what did we think of... we can hear you now. Can hear you. Good. How are you, my friend Richie?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just trying.
Where are you off to?
I'm just driving around, just doing a few errands.
His man's got business to attend to.
He's got business to attend to, and Spurs
got business. Busy guy, man.
Spurs have also got business to attend to this weekend against Southampton, a ground which we haven't been great at over the last 5 or 6 times. 1 win in our last 6. How are you feeling coming into this one? You confident?
Bro, to be honest with you, man, like I think we're gonna beat them, but like I'm mentally checked out, man. Like I'll just probably be like keeping tabs like on the scores or something like that, man. I'm just not gonna watch the game. I like this morning was like the Champions League draw, and that shit hurt me that we weren't in it, man. I feel like when we got knocked out of the Champions League, it was like season over for me. Like I don't even care what happens tomorrow, but I think we'll win.
Are you not bothered about finishing in the top 4 or where we finish in the season?
No, not really, because nothing changes if we finish in the top 4 or if we don't finish in it. It's the same thing year in, year out. So I just want to see. I think a year maybe out of the Champions League and maybe like in another competition where we can just like focus on like building our team again and then coming back. Because what's the point of being in the Champions League if we're not going to do anything in it, getting knocked out in the last 16? I don't see the point.
Yeah, I mean, I do get your point a little bit, but I felt we could have beaten AC Milan. I know it didn't happen.
I agree.
It didn't happen, but there were definitely chances for us to win that game, and I felt Romero just completely killed us. And if Romero didn't get sent off, there was still a big chance that we could have leveled that game up. So, is it? I mean, we could definitely get past the last 16 if we, get back into it for next season.
Yeah, I'm all hoping so too, man. But we'll see what happens. But I'm not very confident of how the club is heading and how everything is going on at the club. There's so much uncertainty and like there's no direction, there's no plan. It's like so dull being a Spurs fan no more, man, this season, man. That's why I've just like checked out for the rest of the season. Maybe next season if we see like another manager comes in and we see a good plan and a vision for where the club is going to be heading to, maybe that's when I'll dial back in. But I don't know, man. I'm just not that checked in right now where we are.
What's your opinion on the manager?
I feel like the right manager, but he's at the wrong club, man. I don't feel like he's at the right club. I feel like he needs to be at clubs like the Inters and the Chelseas and the Juventus. That's his level. I feel like Tottenham Hotspur is just not the club for a guy like Conte.
Yeah, it's that's the eternal question, isn't it? When it comes to if he's the right fit for us, do you feel like Spurs are going to have that extra bit of motivation to be up for this top 4 fight like we were last season, or do you believe we might peter out this season?
I feel like the owners are really going to push for it, man. I feel like they're going to demand of it, and because I feel like players always want to play in the best league in the world, which is the Champions League, like Europe. So I feel like the players are going to be pumped up to fight for top 4, and maybe that's our level, just fighting for top 4 every season right now. So I feel like we will get top 4, but with or without it, nothing changes at this club.
Score prediction, Rishi?
I'm sorry I'm sounding so gloomy, man. I'm sorry I'm sounding so gloomy. I'm not usually like this, bro. I'm usually pumped up, man. But this season it just killed me, bro. I'm sorry.
Spurs beats us all down. Trust me.
Yeah, you're not the only one, Rishi. You're not the only one. But what's your prediction for tomorrow? What's the score going to be?
I feel we're gonna go with. I'm gonna go with a 2-1 win. I'm saying Richie on the score sheet tomorrow. And this time it's not getting disallowed.
At least you've ended on a positive note. Thanks for coming on, Richie.
Yeah.
We'll speak to you soon.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. Have a nice day, guys. Take care.
Have a good one, bro.
Nice one.
Let's keep going. And we've got the Perchy from the Perchy TV. Brand new channel on the scene. Perchy, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, a week with no Spurs will do that to you. And also Arsenal going out the Europa League last night in that fashion. So I think woke up in a good mood today, that's for sure.
I was going to say, it's been a bit refreshing, hasn't it? After 2 games a week gets a bit too much after a while. But yeah, no, you're right. Arsenal getting knocked out was quite funny. It was quite hilarious. Ironically, to a team that we knocked out of the Champions League, which was quite funny. But yeah, no, things are good. It's weird. Last time I was on here, I felt like it was all doom and gloom. But we actually played all right against Forest, and we're sort of starting to actually get some results. We'll see how it goes. But yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it, Perchy, but Spurs are actually the form team in the Premier League right now. 5 wins from their last 7. No one else has got more points than us over the last 7 games.
That kind of just says it all, though, doesn't it? Really, because realistically, we've been so inconsistent, and it kind of just says it all, really, about everything. But this, as I said, like for me, I've always said, and I've been saying it for a while, with the whole consistency side of things, not to finish in the Champions League this season. You don't have to be that good. You've just got to be okay. As long as you can win maybe 3 on the bounce here and there, not losing 5 or 6, you can be all right and get there. And I think if we can start doing that, look at Man United aren't playing this weekend and Liverpool aren't playing this weekend. Massive opportunity to be 3rd place. Yes, games in hand, but you'd rather the points over games in hand. And real big opportunity, really. And there's no real excuses. Southampton are terrible.
Yeah, they are terrible, but it's not a ground which we're usually good at. But when you're looking at, Spurs and the season and Manchester United, it's actually crazy to me that if we win tomorrow, we can go above Man United with the narrative surrounding Man U this season, how good they've been in their back and all that, and the narrative surrounding Spurs. And how the hell is it got to a stage where we can go above them this week? I know it's games in hand and stuff, but still.
It's consistency. Man United haven't been consistent really this season. Yeah, they've won a cup. Fair play. I mean, we'd have done anything to win a cup, but I think you look at it from the bigger picture. And so, as I said, in the league, no one's really been that consistent. As I said, everyone sort of talks about this league being one of the greatest. With that, it's not been an amazing league because I feel like no group of teams have run away with anything. As I said, we could go third. I mean, imagine if we'd said 2 months ago would be third place in mid March. You'd have gone, shut up, what you on about? Do you know what I mean? But as I said, you don't have to be incredible. Like whereas before, to finish in the Champions League, you needed to go and win your sort of last 5 or 6 games on the bounce to have any chance of getting there. Nowadays, you don't really have to. And I said, and you use the consistency. When I say consistency, it's the same down the bottom. I mean, there's a chance that maybe about 10 odd teams or something can go down. Yeah. 8, I think it's 8. Sorry, from Palace down. I mean, Palace have sacked Vieira today, and as I just said, it resonates across the whole league. As I said, for me, if we can start winning 3 or 4 games on the bounce, there's no excuses to not finish in the top 4 this season.
But going to St Mary's tomorrow, are we maybe in danger of underestimating them, thinking it's going to be an easy ride? You know, they just beat Chelsea recently. They drew away at Old Trafford 0-0 not so long ago. They beat Man City at home in the Cup very recently as well. So as much as they are rooted to the bottom of the league, is there, do they have the capabilities of springing a surprise tomorrow?
Of course they are. I mean, this is Tottenham Hotspur, by the way. I don't expect us to beat anybody anymore. I mean, I've seen us go and beat Man City and then lose to Leicester the weekend after. So I'm so used to it now that I accept that I don't expect us to beat anybody. But I look at it and go, values of probability. We've got a better squad than Southampton's, so we should be going there expecting to try and get a result there, definitely.
When you're looking at the lineup, I mean, are you expecting an unchanged lineup? Is that what you want to see?
So where I look
David
at it,
Smith, wing back, Porro right wing back, Rishi instead of Kulu. Yeah,
I've said my channel, first video has just gone live literally just now, but I've literally said on that the first video is live. The first video is live now. It was at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock for you guys. But I said you've got to go front 3 of Son, Kane, and Richarlison. I think if Richarlison does get dropped, then you sit and go, what are we doing? Because arguably his best game in a Spurs shirt against Forest deserved the goal. He got ruled out. I mean, I think arguably he was our best player on the pitch. Yes, Kane went and scored a couple of goals, but I thought Richarlison's pressing from the front was remarkable first half. Yeah, we petered off second half, and that's the one thing I did find as a bit of a negative from that game was that we could have put that team to the sword. If we wanted to, we could have won that game 4 or 5-0 without a shadow of a doubt. And ironically, if it wasn't for the save of the poor penalty, we could have looked at that game at 3-2 and gone, how have we won the game by 3-2? We could have easily won the game 4-0. And I think it's just a matter of that. And listen, I thought I said against Forest, I thought we were very good in the first half. Best half of football I've seen us play all season. More of it. That's all I say. There's no real excuses now. There's no excuses. We're out of Europe. We're out of the cups. We're playing 1 game a week now. And it's classic Spurs now to go on a run now at the end of the season with 1 game a week.
Perch, does Porro have the shirt now at right wing back for you? Or is Emerson still our number 1?
I think it's all relevant, isn't it? I think Southampton aren't ones to sort of press very hard with wingers. I think so. You look at it with Porro, who's probably the right player to play with. But when you're playing against maybe Liverpool, we've got Liverpool coming soon. You probably would start an Emerson. He's better defensively, so you can. It's all about using the squad that we have and using it. I wouldn't say one person's got a position locked down. I don't think that's how it should work. And I think you use the players relatively. I think Porro's better going forward. Emerson's better defending. So you use them correctly, if that makes sense.
Score prediction, Perchy?
2-0.
2-0.
Harry Kane brain.
Harry Kane brain?
No, brace. Yeah, Harry Kane will get both of them.
Brilliant. Perchy, thanks for coming on today. Everyone go and hit that subscribe button on his channel as well. Please. So big up.
Thank you so much, guys. Cheers.
We'll speak to you in a bit. That was Perchy, brand new channel on the scene. Next up is Michael. Yes, Michael, how are we?
Relatively good. Relatively good.
Exactly. We've had worse days, haven't we, than waking up to Arsenal being
Yeah,
knocked out of
yeah,
Europe.
yeah.
So you got to take the wins when you can.
Yeah, sunny Friday morning or afternoon, I guess. And
Exactly.
what else is there to enjoy other than those bums getting knocked out yesterday? I loved it. I watched the game. I was so happy, and the
I
amazing
think
goal by
Ramsdale's still looking over his head. Even he woke up this morning still looking over his head.
You know, the funny thing is that I've recently started a new save in Football Manager, and Fabio Paratici always recommends me what's the guy's name? The scorer from yesterday. Fuck, I now forgot. Not Goncalo Inacio, he's Goncalves. Oh, yeah. He always recommends me to sign Goncalves, and I actually did, like, I guess 4 days ago. And now he scored against them against Arsenal in the in the Europa League. Lovely stuff.
Is he good? Is he good on FM?
Yeah, in FM he's really good. Better than most of our players. No, of course not counting like the best ones like Son and Kane, right? But
So when you're looking at the game tomorrow, I mean, usually it's a difficult ground for us to grab 3 points at. I mean, how are you looking at it? Are you, because maybe some Spurs fans, some Spurs are looking at it being like, we're going to go there easy 3 points and come back down to London. Are you looking at it like that?
I don't. It's never easy 3 points with Tottenham, and it's often hard when you ask those type of questions, right? Because like every fiber of my body wants to tell you that we will win, because on paper, when you look at it, we should be winning, right? We have much better squad, much better manager. We are in form. They are bottom of the league, but you know how it works with Spurs, right? It's always like when you feel the most confident, it's usually when you get like slapped in the face.
Absolutely.
So like as I said, I think we will win. I hope we will win, but I can't say for sure that we will win, if you get me right.
That's the life of a Spurs fan, Michael. You're learning.
But what do you think we'll do?
I think we will stick with the formation that we played last game. I think Richarlison deserves to keep his spot, even though he kind of screwed my FPL over, because I had Kulusevski in the team, and first of all, Richarlison started, played most of the game, and then Kulusevski came on, and I literally had him for like 8 minutes. He got 1 point, and I had Odegaard on the bench who scored like 8 or something, right? So
never pick a gooner, Michael. Never pick a gooner.
I have something to say myself. I am fighting for a kit, because me and the group of my friends have a bet that the winner of our mini league gets funded a kit of his favorite team, right? So I am technically fighting for something, so I have to optimize it, right? And listen, it hurts me like hell, but unfortunately, like Arsenal assets in FPL are really good this season, so yeah.
Fair enough. So you're saying unchanged team. I mean, is there a chance for maybe Perisic to come back in, seeing as we're back to 1 game a week?
I hope not.
Yeah.
Listen, it's nothing against like Perisic himself, right? But I strongly believe that given the examples that we had with him playing next to Sonny and Sonny not scoring, I think he scored 1 goal against Palace when Perisic was on the pitch, and all other goals by Sonny were scored when Perisic was not there. And I get all the arguments about they are world-class players, or like amazing players, they should work it out together, but clearly they are not working together, right? Clearly there is something up there that's missing, right? I think Perisic has a lot of quality, but it just doesn't complement what Son wants to do. So I would prefer seeing Davies on the left, just because it validates Sonny more. I think that Son has a lot more space and a lot more freedom to stay higher up the pitch when he has a defensive wing back next to him, right? So again, if we had a different profile of player on the left wing, I wouldn't be against playing Perisic, right? But in that case, I think I would prefer seeing Davies there. And also with Poro, as I said with Richie, I think if you are playing well, you should keep your spot. And especially because like Emerson had that like small injury or whatever, right? So I think Porro should be starting, and yeah, the midfield, Kane, the back line, goalkeeper, they should all stay the same. But actually, isn't Lloris like coming back soon? I think it should be like a couple of weeks,
April
right?
time,
2
yeah,
weeks.
I think it
maybe
should be
after.
after the international break, to be fair.
Yeah. Like, what's your guys' opinion about this? Should Forster keep his spot, or should we just go straight back to Lloris?
In my opinion, I think Lloris just comes straight back in, to be fair. I
Mm-hmm.
really do. 'Cause I remember as well, like after he won the World Cup, he was on some bad form. He got injured and then he came back and he was really good. So I'm hoping the same thing can happen.
Yeah, he's our captain at the end of the day. Conte really believes in him, and he said he's going to come straight back in as well. So I'm expecting him to come straight back in.
Yeah, that would be logical. Although I was really worried after the first game against Leicester with Forster in goal, but he's actually kind of solid in my opinion. I was surprised by his performances. Like I think most of the goals that we conceded were not really his fault. I think like the first against Forest was his fault. Maybe like some goals against Leicester were Leicester players exploiting his weaknesses, but other than that, I think he's been kind of solid. So I'm happy with him so far in the goal. I wouldn't mind if he played like 1 or 2 games before Lloris gets put back into the team if Lloris is fit, right? But yeah, I think it's a massive opportunity, this Southampton game. As you guys said, I know games in hand, whatever, right? But we have the opportunity to go third in the league, and that's absolutely like unthinkable if you think about it. Like if someone told you in November we are going to be third, like Perchi said, you would laugh at them, right? Because that just doesn't seem possible. And we have an opportunity to finish top 4. I think we are in a like prime driving seat to end up there, right? Because Liverpool are really like they are more Spursy than us. Newcastle have lost a lot of form recently, and I know they can bounce back, but it doesn't really seem like they have this cutting edge that they had before the World Cup. And who else is there? Brighton. I would actually be more afraid about Brighton than maybe Liverpool and Newcastle, because Brighton are playing some amazing football in my opinion, and it's just whether they can like be solid, because they win against teams, but then they lose at home to Fulham. So it's kind of like in a similar boat to other teams, and I think if they solidify, they can really threat that top 4 spot, right? But other than that, I think we are in a driving seat to end up 4th, and I think it's important whether people like. Again, I don't really care that much. Like people say, if we finish 5th, I wouldn't be like downbeat or whatever, right? But I think it's important for a club to finish 4th to get that money, right? Whether this money will be spent on players or not, that's other thing, right? But it is important for clubs to play in the best competitions they can, right?
At least it gives them the opportunity to spend that money.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like we always say that ending up 4th means that there is like really no argument to not spend the money. Whether it happens or not, again, is a different thing connected to our ownership, right? But then if they don't spend money and we are in Champions League, then fans have something to like fight the board over, let's say. Like they can say, we are in Champions League, why aren't we spending whatever, right? If we are in Conference League or Europa League, then the argument is not really that valid, but it's more valid than if we are in the Champions League, right? So yeah, as I said, I think it's important for the club. So of course I'm gonna be cheering on our boys, right? I will be watching the games. The break that I took during like Nottingham Forest game really helped me. I think I've calmed down a lot, and and refound my joy of watching Tottenham. But yeah, I'm
See
looking
if you
forward
still have
to
it
the game.
after this weekend.
Yeah, knowing Tottenham, I will be cursing them over during Sunday. Right?
Did you give us a score prediction, Michael?
No, I didn't yet. I think it will be a tough game. I don't see us going there and like slapping them up or whatever, right? I think 2-1 is a fair scoreline. If we win 2-1, I think I will be happy with that. And like before I sign off, I just want to say big up to Lech Poznań because they qualified to quarterfinals of Conference League, and it's the first time in the 21st century that a Polish team is in the quarterfinals of a European trophy. So I'm really happy for them. Although fuck Poznań because I don't like the city, but big up to the team. So
who did you get in the next round?
Fiorentina. So probably
Ah.
they will get knocked out, but still, I think. I think it's nice that it's a step towards maybe achieving something greater, right? So I'm really happy about it.
Who did West Ham get in the Conference League?
Give me a second, I can check.
I don't even know who's in the Conference League this year, to be honest.
West Ham got Ghent.
Okay.
Ghent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I don't think you guys care about other pairs, so.
Michael,
yeah, but
go on. What were you going to say?
I think like all the European competitions are actually kind of enjoyable this season. I would say there are some teams that usually aren't there, like Napoli in the Champions League. Some teams in Conference League that really weren't there. In Europa League, there is some interesting pairs. So I think it's enjoyable season for watching Europa, right? And thankfully, Arsenal got knocked out and Chelsea got handed Real Madrid, so probably they will be out soon. So yeah, glory days.
It's coming, Michael. Thanks for coming on today, my friend, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, pleasure speaking with you guys as always.
Always, always. Big up. All right, so that is that for today. We'll be back with predicted lineup a bit later on today. Tomorrow on the watch along, you have got Barry and Danny on the watch along tomorrow, and me and Sim going down to St Mary's with Brian Daigle as well. So watch out for the vlog and all the content. Join the watch along in the studio, and we'll see you all very soon. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.